Hello, welcome back to part 2 of our chat on a Thursday, and the wetter it is, the more rain that falls from the sky, the more people there are in the studio, sheltering. It's like a shelter, this place. James Gregg has even rejoined us this week, Mike McCarthy of BBC Radio Sheffield, and Josh Varley, the captain of Sheffield Collegiate Cricket Club and a coaching aide to his big long-term mate, Joe Root, the England captain. More chat along those lines in this half. There's loads of things that we've got to mention, and if I don't get them out of the way now, I'll forget to mention. Jamie Christian, the events manager for Omega Abbeydale Sports Club, has tried to, he rings while we're on air. He rang a few weeks ago while I was on air, and he apologised to me later saying, "Oh, I'm ever so sorry, I didn't realise." But he did, because he wanted me to plug the next big personality evening down there, and he's rung you during part 1 as well.
I paid Josh a compliment. He said it looks good on telly. Did he tell you that, Alan? Or?
No, he didn't tell me that. He said that you look good. Anyway, it's all in there. He just wants us to mention that I'll be hosting an evening with Gary Megson, the former Sheffield Wednesday manager, at Abbeydale this coming Wednesday, starting at 7 o'clock. Pie, chips and peas of very high quality at 7 o'clock. And then Gary and I come on and do about 2 hours at 7:45. There's no singing, but we come on and do a couple of hours. And it'll be a great evening. He's promised to be incredibly honest, and he's never less than honest. And we'll have some very hard-hitting things to say about all sorts of stuff. And people are asking, what's he doing now? Does he miss management? Why isn't he in management? There are 1 or 2 tickets still available. So do contact Jamie at Abbeydale. There you are. Got him off the case. He won't be ringing now. And you were at White Hart Lane last Saturday.
As a punter in the away end amongst all the Blades fans. I mean, all the train disruption on that Saturday morning. I was already down there, been working down there, so it was fine for me just getting a tube in. But it looked at one point like all the trains, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, were all cancelled down to London. So you're thinking, could be quite an empty away end. Well, if there's a will, there's a way, because it was absolutely packed. I didn't see an empty seat in the Blades End. No. So they obviously all found an alternative way of getting down there, maybe last-minute minibus hire or whatever. So that was good. I'm sure you're wanting to talk about the VAR, aren't you?
No. We've all said what we think about the VAR.
I mean, all I would say is it's the first time that, as a Blades sort of supporter or watcher of any game that I've been to this season, that it's actually really come into effect and experienced that waiting around. And before I was kind of thought, well, I wasn't really that bothered by it. I didn't like it, but I wasn't really that bothered. But Saturday made my mind up. Same as everyone else. It's just shocking.
It made my blood boil.
So
I couldn't care less whether it's even technically right. It's just not football.
No, it's not, is it?
And I broke my own rule and I swore on Twitter because I was just so peed off with it. I didn't use that word. I used a stronger word than that. I just cannot abide it. It was against Southampton. They had a goal disallowed against Southampton. But for logical reasons, and it happened quite quickly.
Yeah,
John Egan was offside, interfering with the goalkeeper. No, we don't want to talk about
all right, fine.
But
we won't bother then.
Performance was fantastic.
It was brilliant, the atmosphere was great as well. So, it's very good.
You know this fella.
Yeah.
You know both these guys, but you know this fella of old, Josh Varley. And you've known Joe Root, who you've been helping to coach in preparation for the winter tours for a long, long time. Since when, Josh?
Since primary school. Yeah. Back until we were old enough to play cricket, really, which was probably very young, but known for a long time.
Okay, and relative to Joe Root's prowess as a cricketer, whereabouts do you put yourself?
Oh, no, nowhere near. I'm a good watcher, but I'm the first team captain at Sheffield Collegiate, so that is my trade in the cricketing world.
I've seen you quite a lot, but you're a reluctant hero, let me say. You tend to bat rather low down the order, and you very seldom put yourself onto bowl.
I try not to bowl. When people say, what do you do? I say, well, I'm captain, and I'm quite good at standing in slip and telling them what to do. Captaining is a different kettle of fish than playing, because you've got, instead of being in charge of your own game, you're in charge of 10 other people's game and your own. And
a massive social commitment to the club like that as well, because it's so heavy on the social side.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a huge membership base. We've got, 8 adult teams, including now the women's teams we've got. It's massive. You meet on a Monday to decide your team. You send your texts out on a Monday. You prepare on a Tuesday. You're playing a game on a Wednesday. You training on Thursday, and it is a big commitment, but it's good. We like doing it.
Well, you've got this coaching thing going in quite a big way, because don't you visit South Africa to coach as well?
So I used to go over to South Africa quite a bit. I spent 3 years over there, doing three separate trips, going over doing a bit of playing and a bit of coaching.
Okay, we're going to talk in a little while. We're going to show again the blink if you blink and you'll miss it coaching film of Josh and Joe again shortly. Football this weekend. Mike, international break. I haven't got a game. It's about the first Saturday this season I haven't had a game. How about you?
Off to see Rotherham against Accrington. Rotherham with, at the moment, a very poor home record. I think they've taken twice as many points away from home than at the New York Stadium.
Strange.
And no one can really explain why that's happening, and short really I guess of Paul Warren putting all the players on the team bus, driving away for 2 hours and driving back. I'm not quite sure what he's going to be able to do to sort of change that side of it. I mean, essentially a lot of teams have set up very differently at the New York Stadium to what they would do when they're facing Rotherham at home, and they've been able to pick holes in teams on the road. I mean, that win at Gillingham last time out was great, but they haven't quite been able to get the formula right at home. I'm sure they'll do it on Saturday.
Good luck to Paul Warren. He's a great favourite of this show. He's been in a couple of times for what he calls therapy. He says, thanks for that, it was my therapy.
Just talking
we'll have to have
for
him,
an hour.
We'll have to have him in again, won't we? It gives me an opportunity to go and see Chesterfield play Chorley on Saturday, so I am looking forward to that. And then the following weekend, my next working game as of this moment is Sheffield United versus Manchester United.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing to look forward to that is.
Yeah, brilliant.
Meantime, let's just have a look at this. This is our mutual mate over here, Josh.
Yeah.
Coaching Joe Root. Let's have another look at this now, and we can talk over it as well. So he's like, Josh is using a slingshot there, replicating 80, 90 mile per hour deliveries.
And also, by the way, that's some skill, can I just say, because to actually use one of those dog throwers, Josh, it takes a bit of a while, doesn't it, to get used to it. I mean, once you get used to it, it makes you feel like you're the best bowler in the world because you've got this sort of extra arm. But really good stuff.
And if you didn't, your shoulder would be out, wouldn't it, after the intensity of hours and hours of doing this. I must say, Joe's looking very accomplished there in the way he's dealing with this.
You'd hope so, wouldn't you? Yeah. But, I've got to say, I mean, I was going to, don't want to embarrass Josh too much, but having spoke to Joe sort of just before, it all sort of came out in the national press about Josh being, a big help to Joe preparing for this winter. And I was just chatting to him, and he was saying, Josh is a really, really good coach. And I was like, all right, I might text him. And then
you sounded surprised.
And then about 2 or 3 days later, he's all over the papers that what a good coach Josh is. So I thought, what, I won't bother texting him. You don't need me to tell him. But yeah, that's right. And if Joe's saying that, it's high praise, isn't it? So
it certainly is. It certainly is. And knowing him so well, the pressures of the job and the captaincy, which he's had for a few years now.
Yeah.
Have you noticed any changes in him or any essential changes as a result of it?
No, I mean, at a very low level, I know what the pressure's like as captain in club level. So at an international level, he's a lot busier. He's a lot harder to get hold of, and his commitments for that are quite high. If he's not training or playing, he's having to speak, having to have a meeting. He's still the same Joe, still the same bloke we know. It's sometimes funny, some of the new guys at collegiate who haven't seen Joe as much and still see him as the England captain and not as Joe Root, the lad who grew up and played collegiate, is when he opens his back door and walks onto the pitch at Aberdeen with his bag like a kid, and that just sums him up whenever people ask me sort of what he's like.
Same circle of friends.
Yeah. He's saying whenever he's around, I know he's got a big group of friends, a lot of people who know.
You'd have thought he would have slung a few of them out, wouldn't you? By now.
Not
mentioning any names.
No, he's good. He's very easy to spend time with. Sometimes you've got to sort of stop yourself wanting to ask him questions about cricket all the time, and
he's quite forthcoming with that.
Yeah,
he tells you stuff, and you're thinking, should you be telling me that? But he's really good with it.
It's a bit like Paul Warren as well. It's sort of a therapy time for them. It's when they're talking about there's not a microphone in the face, there's not a camera in the face, there's not the coach behind him listening to what they're saying. It's sort of time for them to sort of really tell you what you think. So,
what a fantastic series it was against Australia, by the way.
Yeah.
Although, you know, I think most of us recognise that Australia were a better team, really. England did so well to come out of it with a draw, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean,
in the end,
it was a very high standard cricket. Test cricket. It was. I can't think of many Test series as a whole, as a level part, what have been as entertaining as that you've seen, which are there's 5-0 wins, what get done in a few days. That was, you know, back and forward all the time. It was great to watch. You know, obviously the Headingley one stands out.
It was unbelievable.
But you know, back and forward, the standard cricket, the standard fast bowling, what was on the show.
Yes.
You know, Stuart Broad stepped up in Jimmy's absence, but the Australian guys, you know, were a different level above.
yeah. And now it's New Zealand and South Africa. Okay, well, still to come. We're talking about the efforts of the movement, Sheffield Home of Football, who are really trying to get proper acknowledgement forthcoming for Sheffield's historical prominence, and they're battling at the moment with B&Q to get a sign that we all think should be up in Sheffield. More details on that to come. I've been to a very interesting new ground this week.
Yes, you have.
About which there'll be more, and James Gregg here has got round up of...
Well, you know, with international break, it only seems like about a week ago since it was the last international break, and I was saying, sort of plugging all the same local sides and whatever, and saying this exact thing, but if you are at a loose end and you know you usually go to Hillsborough or Bramall Lane, you're thinking international break. Hallam are at home this weekend against Winterton Rangers at Sandygate. Sheffield FC, they're away unfortunately at Spalding, but not too far away to go. About an hour and 20 minutes when I looked on the old Google Maps earlier. Worksop, they're at home to Newcastle Town. Penistone Church, they're away at Barton. By the way, top of their league after finishing second to Worksop last year in that league. And Bigsy, you went to which might be possibly the worst or best named ground in this area, depending on what you think. But the Swall Siro, right? Can you talk us through it?
I can't really. I mean, that's why I've lost my voice. It was so cold. It was sub-zero. Never mind Swall Zero. But this was on Tuesday night this week. I'm blaming them. But it was... well, look. It's a great name. Whether it's a joke or not, not right. It's actually Swallow's Miners Welfare Ground, but I think Swall Zero sounds a lot better.
Yeah.
Tell you what, facilities are good. Floodlights are really good. There's good standing areas. There's cover.
Yeah.
There was a record crowd for the club of 303 the other night.
Fantastic.
You know,
good football as well. I saw on Twitter there was, you know, they played some decent stuff as well.
They
Don't
do.
they? Yeah.
They dominated the first half. They were only 1-0 up. Sheffield turned it on as you'd expect, 'cause a couple of divisions higher. In the second half, scored 3 goals. Lovely people behind the scenes. Really enjoyed their company. Really care about the club. Really proud of the club. And like you just said, I'd urge people all over the city, locate your nearest local non-league club and go along and watch, because it's a great community spirit, it's a good atmosphere, and invariably there's good football as well. So I'd like to thank Swan and Nest FC and the Swan Siro Stadium for my experiences of Tuesday night.
Incredible, absolutely echo that as well. Also Sunday, Sheffield United's women, they're actually away from home this weekend, but they're doing remarkably well. They're third in Women's Super League Championship. They've got a game in hand on the side above them though, London City. Plenty going on though this weekend. So if you're at a loose end, do go and find a local team to go and watch. Sheffield Steelers, they're at home Saturday night against Coventry before a game Sunday up at Glasgow. They're second in the table, are the Steelers, in the English Ice Hockey Elite League. The Sheffield Sharks, they're top of their BBL Cup group. That's divided into North and South. They've got a trip to Glasgow too tomorrow night, actually, in that, to try and cement their place and get into the knockout stages. Done well last few years in that competition as well, so see if they can do that again. Sheffield Eagles as well, it's the off-season for them, but they're making lots of signings, 6 signings now. They've made another one today. Obviously, lots of eyes on Toronto Wolfpack moving up into the Super League, who they were playing against last year. Sonny Bill Williams has signed for them, so it just shows this little spending power, the gulf, when Mark Aston's you know, invariably not got much of a budget and he's trying to sign lads on the cheap, and Sonny Bill Williams is signed for £3.5 million a year at Toronto. That was what they were up against last year.
It makes a little go a long way.
It does.
Mark Aston has done for a long time.
It does, absolutely. So yeah, interesting to see how they get on next year. In golf, Matt Fitzpatrick in action this weekend in South Africa. He's top 25-ish after after round 1. And just to mark your card as well, so Wednesday, when they do come back after the international break, are away at West Brom, and the Blades at home to Newton Heath FC, or as we know, the Manchester United.
That could be Healy versus Newton Heath.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
As Wednesdayites refer to, and this will be foreign to you, coming from Leicester, but Wednesdayites often refer to the Blades as Healy.
Healy FC.
After the district, yeah.
Well, they're South
Healy
Barnsley,
versus
aren't they?
Newton
South
Heath.
Barnsley.
And South Barnsley, yeah.
That's one of the more polite things that I've heard over the last year.
Definitely. But what is not in doubt, and you could be an owl or a blade, is the historical significance of Sheffield, which is too often overlooked. And I don't know if you caught this story this week, but there's a movement, a very worthy movement called Sheffield Home of Football. Martin Westby is one of the prime movers in that, and he keeps being up to date. Trying to draw recognition to the fact that in 1857, the world's oldest club, which we all know is Sheffield FC, played its first game. And that was played on what is now the B&Q superstore on Queen's Road in Sheffield, quite close to the railway line, and within probably half a mile of this studio, or less than a mile anyway. And in those days, that was just a meadow alongside the River Sheaf. There was very little awareness of that, and still is, but that Sheffield Home of Football have been trying for months to get B&Q to just give them permission to put a big sign up there saying to people that, this is where the first football match took place, this is the home of football, because it's right alongside the railway line. Hundreds, thousands of people a year.
People are coming in, they want to see it, don't they? They want to see something like that.
The train slows down, and B&Q have been very slow on the uptake. They didn't reply to a letter that was sent to them in March. To me, this is an absolute open goal for free publicity. And they only responded on Twitter after 2 or 3 days of poking them this week. There was a response to say, we didn't realise this, guys, we'll look into it. Since when there's been nothing further. So, dear oh dear, what more prompting do B&Q need? What's your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm just imagining what the social media video for B&Q would be, which is, inviting them in. You can build the sign using stuff from B&Q. We'll show you how to make it and how you can get all the bits and pieces that you need, and then all gets put up, and it's all sorted, isn't it? And then, maybe I'm in the wrong job.
Yeah, no, I think you're in the right job. Right, yeah. You're in the right job.
You could do a good little thing with that, but I don't know. It just seems to me, Alan, we've spoke about this loads on here, haven't we? Since we've done this show, and basically saying how it's never really pushed. People don't really know much about Sheffield as being the home of football.
No,
I think your die-hard football fans do, but they don't. And you almost get the people claiming it because it's so under-publicised. But it's like the record's there. You should be, forcing it upon people on arrival, shouldn't you? Really?
And what an opportunity for the city and for B&Q of having that sign for all these commuters coming into the city on their train. But there is hope.
Yeah.
Because somebody on Twitter pointed out that a B&Q was built in Huddersfield on the site of Huddersfield Town's former ground, Leeds Road, and that B&Q put a plaque in the car park there where the centre spot used to be to say that this used to be Leeds Road, Huddersfield site.
Nice. Like that.
It could happen. Let's hope it does. Let's hope it does. What's your winter plans for cricket? Presumably, you're not going to get much sleep then.
No, not with New Zealand and South Africa. Bit of a difference, yeah. We will. We've sort of have a bit of a break now, trying to encourage everybody to sort of have a bit of time off from cricket, not switch off completely. And we'll start again in January for our pre-season. Once a week, then it might step up to twice a week once we get into March time. So a lot of watching at the moment
Serious stuff,
when it goes on, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say when the tests start, and I think the first one is a week on Wednesday, isn't it? Next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday.
The first test
How
starts.
good was the T20 series as well, by the way? It was so good with the Super Over again.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely brilliant. So good. Yeah. So, yeah, really exciting. Yeah, I mean, Josh, have you spoke about Josh being away in Spain the other week, international cricket coach? Have you asked him about that?
No.
Right,
No,
so
no,
Josh, tell us about that. So you were in Spain the other week, a little tri-series between 3 different nations, and you were coaching who against who?
So yeah, last 2 weeks ago we went over to Spain, where we played a tri-series against Spain. I was coaching for Gibraltar,
right?
Where we played against Spain and Portugal. Very, very good, enjoyable week. We had 4 days, just over a week. We had 4 days in Desert Springs, where we had a bit of a training camp amongst ourselves. And then we travelled over to La Manga and had the tournament there. It was an official ICC tournament. It was the tri-series we had, so it was good, very enjoyable.
Really?
Learned a lot. 1 week I was with the England captain, the next week I was with Gibraltar, so it was great. I actually couldn't coach with Joe on the week because I was with Gibraltar, so it was very good.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that you want to be doing in the winter.
He's a rock. He's
Yeah,
a rock.
yeah.
Whether he's with Gibraltar or the England captain, he's just a rock. Where are you on cricket, Mike? You?
I love it, and in fairness, it's one of the sports that I can get my wife into as well. So actually, with the series in New Zealand, it's great because we can put Test match special on overnight, and there's no complaints at all. It's absolutely brilliant.
So teach me how to do that.
Yeah, so I love following it. I followed Leicestershire in the T20 when I was working down in Leicester as well, and it's nice being up in Yorkshire where the cricket's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Well,
It is a bit, funnily enough, that's the only time my wife has sat down with me to watch cricket on TV was twice during last summer.
Yeah.
Once was the World Cup final, and the second time was that amazing finish to the Headingley Test.
Both absolutely
Which is
astonishing experiences to be a part of, and one of the things that was great about that is after the World Cup final 5 put up the final hour again, and I found myself listening again to the that final hour, knowing exactly what was going to happen, but just the joy of it was just
so
remarkable.
exciting. I mean, it was unbelievable.
And where do we stand on terrestrial or lack of terrestrial for some of these huge things like the Ashes series? It should be on terrestrial.
I think one thing they've got to take advantage of now, the people in the right areas, is cricket has hit a completely new audience now. It really has reached out. The World Cup and the Ashes, that Headingley day alone, brought a whole new audience. People who were texting me, my friends who don't know anything about cricket, texting me about it all. Can't wait, when can we go to a game, things like that, because the atmosphere has just changed. You saw a new energy in our club when we got all the juniors coming along. And a lot of people, most people have Sky now, don't they? So it's sort of one of them things, but you still want as many people to watch it as you can. I mean,
I don't think most do.
Yeah.
I still think it's a fraction of the population.
But also, I think because there's so many channels, even if you do have Sky, you're probably not inclined to go and watch it. Whereas if a lot of people are forced to watch one channel, and if it's the cricket's on BBC One or BBC Two or ITV or whatever. I mean, Channel 4, me and you grew up in that era, didn't we? With the 05 Ashes, and Channel 4 had it, and everyone was talking about it.
They were, everybody, and non-cricket fans, everybody. And you had the ICC World Cup trophy down on display, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Down a few weeks ago.
Yeah, we did. We had it down. The ECB brought it down.
Yeah.
It was good. We had all our juniors down taking photos. All the local schools.
I came down to have my photo
You
taken.
did. You were the first one there, Alan.
I was queuing up.
I love that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I've got a picture of it somewhere. I can bore you with it later.
I'll get it tweeted.
It's been tweeted.
Oh, has it?
Right. Okay. Well, it's been a thoroughly enjoyable hour as usual. I'd like to thank Mike McCarthy for a very assured debut, given the difficult circumstances as well that he had to deal with.
Pleasure.
Josh, it's lovely to see you in here. I hope you have a good cricketing summer,
Thank you
and
for
that
having
one of your best pals also does.
Yes.
And thank you for coming
thank
in.
you.
James, as ever.
Pleasure.
And to you for watching. As ever, this will be repeated at 11 p.m. tonight, and it will be on my YouTube channel. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye.